Hey, hi, how are you? I am in my new office in Auckland, New Zealand, which is pretty cool. See if I can show you my office window. Yay! So you might hear sirens occasionally because it's a real active little city, just like anywhere else. And it's can be a little loud. But oh, I didn't show you. Okay, so New Zealand, one of their prideful things is that they actually, I'm going to pan it back, is that they're like these bungee enthusiasts because they invented that because they're crazy. Let's see if I can show you. In between those two buildings, you'll see that yellow long tower. That actually is they have like this chair tied to bungees where two people at a time can sit on it, and it just, you know, goes up. So it's always open, and even like in the wee hours of the night, which is hysterical. But you'll hear people screaming occasionally, and so if you hear that in the background, you'll know why. Oh, and did you guys check out, I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can pan. No, you can't. There's like this really huge Hobbit poster on the side, which is their national pride and joy, obviously. Anyway, hi. How are you? I would like to go ahead and just get started. There's a couple of questions, and I think the overall theme, too, because I've been getting some questions back and forth. One of the questions that we're getting a lot about, you know, starting up the new year and getting sorted on what you want in terms of developing a program or an offering or even a product. How do you get started? And it's daunting. You know, a lot of people have been asking for advice on how to do stuff like that. And one of the things that I can, you know, safely say is that you just have to schedule it. And I think that's one of the first things to do. And I was speaking to really yesterday, and all of her business advisors told her that what she needed to do is stop trying to make her website and her launch perfect and just launch, and all of those other stuff you can nail out the kinks after. And I'm a big believer in that because I think I would have launched my business in 2009 instead of 2010 if I wasn't so stuck on having it look so perfect. You know what I mean? So if I had let go of that, I think I would have been a year ahead in my business, which it's all great. It was supposed to happen the way it happened. And I feel like that was a constant thing for me. I think, you know, in my industry, I wanted my colleagues to totally be enamored with the product that I had, really loved the website that I had. It was a representation of me, and I wanted it to be completely perfect. And a huge thing with that is that you really have to just kind of step away from that idea and just, you know, it's got to be your own thing. And it's not going to please everybody. I will tell you, I still have really dear friends of mine that will suggest stuff on my website that I don't necessarily agree with, but that's kind of like how it always is. I've run into professionals where, you know, you have people that are not necessarily in your industry or know your aesthetic, and they come in and they give you their ideas for it, and you know, I've learned to be graceful and thank them for their idea and then move on with mine. There's a lot of push and shove when it comes to your baby, your new product. So I just want to put out there that, you know, you should stay away from wanting it to be perfect and just, you know, cling on to having it just be yours. And, you know, everybody has, I actually bark this to my husband all the time, seats, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I'm here, I'm doing it, and that's all that really matters. I'm going to own it. And if it is a product that is in beta, and you're launching it anyway, that's cool. You don't even have to tag it that it's beta, you know what, because it's such an, you know, the marketplace and space is an ever-changing market. So, you know what, in theory, so is Twitter. Twitter is a beta project because it's always turning, and we already know about Facebook that that thing is turning on its axis every 60 seconds. So just be proud that you're putting something out there. You'll be able to find and understand the kinks when you're in it, instead of trying to project and find out what they would be. So, you know, just keep that in mind for sure. So that's one thing. Scheduling it for sure. You don't have to worry about the entire project. You may want to start with using something really simple like a project management tool like Asana. It's what I have my whole virtual team on, by the way. And if, in fact, this is going to be part of it, we're going to be talking about Asana, talking about some other things that you're going to be using to find and train and grow your virtual team in this particular AMP session. So, you know what? Asana is great for scheduling projects. And also even subtasking some of the projects that you may want to do. Like, say, for instance, you want to create a editorial calendar. You can do that, and you can actually, you know, properly plan, prepare, and execute a project from A to Z. So the planning part is the fun part. That's my part. That's definitely where I live. I'm very creative. So I really look at the creation and the planning of a project. And, you know, the creation part really has to be surrounded by, oh my gosh, I almost want to say divinity, because it is a divine thing when you understand that you're a conduit for a product or a project, or, you know, an info product. Even I was speaking to, I keep going back to this amazing conversation in my head that I had with an entrepreneur yesterday, and she's worked with Oprah, and she has this amazing product that I'm going to be, you know, completely behind. But one of her things she said about the product is that it's going to change people's lives, and I've already seen it have. And that's awesome when you feel that way. And I feel that way about this particular program, and specifically Find, Train, and Grow Your Virtual Team is that product for me, because it's going to take you away from working here, and you're going to be working in this space. It helps you grow big and be big. But, you know, going back to the planning part and the creativity part and putting it in a very sacred space, you know, I often refer to this because I'm from Los Angeles, and I often hear people talk about films within development, and to shut down criticism, a lot of the time you will hear them say it's in development. Like, you know, like I'm shutting it down. We're not talking about it anymore. I don't want to hear a lot of questions about something, or maybe even question the project itself. It's in development. It's done. Let's move on. And I want you guys to have that sort of same feeling about your project. You know, it's in development. So whether it's your family, friends, or it's the worst when a partner does this to you. Not my current partner. My current partner is awesome. He's my current. Like, I'm gonna switch off anytime. My husband, my current partner, is my biggest cheerleader out there. He's even the biggest cheerleader to my worst ideas. That's why he's a keeper. But, you know, when I've had previous partners or friendships, and they would be very critical on some of the things I was doing as an entrepreneur, that can really drain you. So just know that sometimes that conversation is off the table. That honey, how's your day thing sometimes doesn't work on your behalf if you're an entrepreneur. Know that you have to shut it down when you have to, and you know, be good with that. Know that, you know, it's in development is something that should be valued, and you know, they may not even understand what your day was like, you know, anyway. So if you're telling them, like, yeah, I'm building my business, I've done A, B, and C, I got, you know, great contacts, and I started speaking to people, engaging people in social media, and this and that, and people are going to roll their eyes because they don't get it. And that's okay. So, you know, also with that is that your relationships and your friendships and your family have to be regarded in the sense where you almost have to protect them from that, and not speak about it too much, and just let them know, like, oh, don't worry about it, Mom. I'll show you my website when it's ready. Don't worry about it. You know, I'll let you know how things are going on a little later. You know, just in development, and then just move on. And then going back to the scheduling, there's a lot of different things. I mentioned like prepping, planning, executing. So prepping is a lot of the creation process where you're creating the product or the info product or a book, whatever it is that you're wanting to create, a painting. You might be frameworking it out. You might putting the ideas all on a sheet of paper and figuring out, oh, I wish I had my trusty little notebook, my old notebook that I keep, because I like to open it up and it shows you the framework of Hustle and Glow, which was my first program. And it literally, on an A4 size piece of paper, it was just written all down, and you know, month 1, month 2, month 3. It was great. So that sort of planning, creating is a part of that, and that's planning it. You know, prepping for it is the task that you need to do to get there. And it can be daunting and big, but just concentrate on that one thing that will get you to the next step. So if I wanted to build out a huge website that was a membership website, first thing I need to do is I need to source a website developer or designer, right? So that's task 1. And, you know, going through the interview process, going through word of mouth, checking out what my other colleagues are going to be, or who they're going to be suggesting interviewing them. That's a process. And you can try to put a timeline on that, but, you know, it may take a month, it may take 2 months. You have to prep for that for sure. Know that that's something when you're in your business, that is something that you're going to dedicate only maybe a couple of days with. You know, get some perspective. Also, you're going to try to keep the marketing and the sales part, keep, working while you're doing something like that, and try not to put so much pressure about it when you're not succeeding as quick as you want to. You know, just thinking of the marketing of a product itself, I take 3 months. So if I know I'm going to launch something in 3 months, I start talking about it, you know, in month 1. You know, 2 is sign up. 3 is when you're doing your last minute signups. So think about all of that whole process. And when you're developing a product that's really worth a value, it's going to take a little longer than that. This is where virtual assistants come in. And they're amazing because it can really help you build that sort of momentum that you didn't really expect. So I had some great things happen to me this past week, and I think one of them I actually sent out as my newsletter is I was, skimming through the city, and I had my iPhone on one hand, checking out the Google Maps so I could meet my my meeting that I was going to, and in the middle of it, I had my earbuds on, and I heard the little chime, the email alert chime. So I checked it out, and it was a customer that couldn't log in to one of my membership membership websites, and I was panicking because I wanted to help her immediately. But all I did was I just went ahead and emailed my virtual team person, Rochelle, who's been like the longest virtual team person I've had. She's very loyal. She's on it. I don't have to really do a lot with her. She's really intelligent. So I just said, yeah, can you just check this, see if the password works? And all of a sudden she made this really, beautiful, supportive email, like tech support, here I am, how can I help you? I've checked it out, the links here, tried this browser versus that one. It was really cool. And I was really pleased with the response because she did it really quickly. And she knew that sense of urgency. And you just can't buy, you could, obviously, but there's talent out there that you just can't say, all right, I'm gonna grab that talent. It is about finding that person, finding that virtual team person that's positive in your business, and then training them. That is something that that does take time, but it's so worth it. And it's so worth it in your business in particular too, because once you train somebody, they can train other team members within the group. So that's awesome, and I just want to say that out loud for sure. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to see if we can pop on to, let's see if I can do this real quick. I'm going to pop on to our virtual team, or our, I should say, our AMP membership login. All right, here we go. And here we are. Now, just to give you a quick tour, this is what it looks like when you log in. This is the membership website. This is AMP. AMP is there for a lot of creatives, freelancers, coaches, anybody that has a job that is, outside of the corporate place, and you're just freelancing and doing your own thing. This is totally the one place stop and shop for you, because we're going to go over this a little bit more intensely, but we have modules that go and amplify your cause each week. Right now we're in week 1. We're going to be debuting week 2 tomorrow. It's in the States, it's every Wednesday. Outside of the US, it's on Thursdays where we release our next week. And just to give you a quick tour, this is the home page. When you log in, you're going to see Take the Tour video. You can actually watch this, and it'll show you around the app, how to navigate throughout the website. Just a quick overview on that. Course sessions is where you can, this is the cool thing, anytime you subscribe to AMP, it's great because you can actually go back some of the past modules here, including, I guess the week 2 is happening here, but you can see easily and grab some of the past ones that we've had, which are pretty cool. So you can just kind of, digest them when you want to, open them up and check out the modules, and we have them, all throughout the year, which is awesome. So we have that. The resources, the resource library really has a lot of the previous calls, and has even some guided meditations that you can use to help you zone in on, the happy space that, when you're in the zone, or when you want to get back in the zone, you can go ahead and grab some of these guided meditations and go there. Bonus content. This is a fun spot because what I do is I try to create little bonus videos or bonus content that you can use to help amplify your business, including how to create infographics. So I actually have this really cool free infographic ebook that you can download. There are little updates here that you can click and view, and there will be more updates here. So that's kind of a cool thing. I'm really dedicated to that project because every little thing I do, I use this process. So it's a real cool thing to do, and really that's where marketing is going now, and well into 2015. We're more visual, and if we can get turned on quickly by a visual, we're going to go there instead of reading a long blog. Community will actually, I can't show you exactly all of that, but when I'm logged in, it'll actually go to the Facebook community group. Support, when I do this, or when I push it, you can't see it, but it auto-populates an email to customer service if you have any questions about the progress, or your progress or your project, or even if you have questions about AMP. The podcast button will actually show you or send you to my podcast on iTunes. The live group AMP sessions, you can always click here and see when is your next live group AMP session, just like today. It'll give you a scheduled time and date and even a link. A one-on-one session, this is so great. So anybody that is an AMP member can actually click on this and book a one-on-one AMP session. I actually donate a lot of my time to this project. So if you need to speak about strategy or you're not sure where to go next in your business, you can always click on and schedule a one-on-one with me. They're totally free. It's a way of me giving back. Since you signed on for the program, I'd love to talk to you and see where you're at. Q&A replays, just like today, all you got to do is just click on that and you'll be able to watch all of the previous AMP sessions that happened. These are Google Hangouts here, so you can actually go back and view them at your leisure. Let's go ahead and click on week 1. So week 1, let's just make sure we're all, okay, good. I'm double checking on my split screen, making sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, so here is AMP, Find, Train, Grow Your Virtual Assistant. And in the first week, what we really do is we talk about you signing up for Odesk, writing copy on how to attract the right person for your job that you're going to be signing out. So it could be anything. The first thing that I invite a lot of people to do is doing something really super simple. And one way to do that is to write a list. I'm so sorry, I'm trying to get that screen share. Okay, good. So one of the things I want you guys to do is literally piece of paper, pen, and just write a list down of what anything and everything that a virtual assistant can do for you. It will absolutely blow your mind. I remember doing this process for myself. I don't know who told me to do it, but I was like, yeah, I get it. A virtual assistant can help me answer emails, whatever, right? And then I started writing it down. And I wrote this really long 2-page thing of what they can help me to do. They can help me upload tweets on Hootsuite. They can help me discern or answer back or alert me when anything's mentioned with, any Google alerts with me. And do stuff that I do for clients, essentially, because I have a full service PR, boutique PR, or digital marketing PR firm. And I do all of these things, or assign my virtual assistant to help me doing that, or my assistant to do that. And it's so funny, but it's almost like the whole idea of putting the oxygen mask on you first before you help somebody else. That's exactly what you need to do. And I've noticed that when I first started my business in 2010, I was a social media marketing person and helping with social media digital PR, but my numbers in social media were weak because I wasn't practicing what I do with my clients. So there I needed help. I knew exactly how to grow meaningful numbers of people that really related to my stuff, but I needed that extra help. So that in itself was worth all of the training hours, or not, it wasn't a lot of training hours, or all of the time spent on that project just by using me and treating myself as my #1 client. That's one thing that I really want you to take away. If you can take away one thing, is to make sure that you are treating yourself as your #1 client, for sure. The other thing that I want you to really reflect on is when you're doing all of that and you're writing everything down, you might find, if you're a control freak like me, you might find that list is just scratching the surface. Because even now I realize that my virtual team is more than capable of actually more responsibility, and I still catch myself from not assigning stuff out there. So I've been assigning stuff more and more out there, for sure. So let's get back to that particular PDF that we're going to be looking at here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to odesk.com and create an account. There you're going to really understand how to or how to create a meaningful job post. So that's something that you're going to be doing there. Listen to the audio tutorial, which I have placed here. It's going to help you define that. Just figure out, what your customer needs are, or what your needs are, and just write it down on that piece of paper, for sure. I tend to, in the beginning, because I am a marketing girl, I tend to write my copy like a personal one, personal personal ad, single, looking for right VA to help me out. No, no, nothing like that. But it was just something that I did, and I realized that, you know, instead of being cheeky and cute, you might want to actually just put down exactly what you need and be as clear and concise as possible. Like if you're, you know, looking for help with the website, and you know they need to know wish list, then you know by all means put that down. Also here we're going to go into steps on you know, what does that virtual assistant avatar looks like. And I know this sounds weird, but we do this a lot for customers where we're really trying to figure out what the demographic is. You really need to do that too with your virtual assistant. So, you know, here's a couple of questions that you need to ask yourself in order to get that right fit. It is part of the law of attraction for sure. But, you know, even more importantly, you want to be able to work with somebody you really like and that you can support during the entire time. The previous week, I think in last week of November, we really dived into that, and we went into that particular structure where, you know, where do they live? How, you know, do they have family? What does their weekends look like? That whole deal of honing in exactly who they are. Writing your ad and vetting it. And I have a little dance break here, so if you need to dance through it, or just if it gets to be a little complicated, I do put these little dance break, little clickables in here that you can kind of just relax and rethink about what you need to do. Here are some title examples I'm using, and then of course thinking of the copy, and then write your ad on Odesk. I actually give you guys a sample. Be clear for sure in the job description. Use bullet points if you need to. Here's a step-by-step look on how it looks on Odesk when you're actually doing something like this. I tend to always go with entry level, 3 to 6 months for sure, just to check out to see you know, how they act. I usually put people through an orientation process, what we'll talk about in a bit. And actually, that's probably a good idea. We can jump over to my Asana and show you exactly what that looks like, which I think would be really good. What should you offer? You know, entry-level candidates, I usually start at $3 an hour. I want to be able to have somebody that's really comfortable with working with me, and then of course they're going to provide the value that you feel that you can give the dollar amount to. I usually negotiate that way, and I do. I am very happy and pleased that I can give bonuses when I can, or I can actually, you know, kill their current contract to actually make a little one, you know, one more that's more attractive and a higher price bracket for them, depending on their longevity and their loyalty and how quick they turn things around. It's like usually the way I want to keep somebody on, I will promote them or give them bonuses from time to time. And then we go into the actual instruction about writing your ad. What can you know, what are the screening questions that you would give people? So it pertains, you know, that all pertains per your, you know, whatever your project is for sure. Vetting, you got to make sure that you have that exchange, that positive exchange with virtual assistants. And here are some examples that you might come across. You know, it's something that may happen. But it's very interesting how people react to these. And if you have a little bit, I actually have a template where I literally cut and paste a lot of responses here. Other details you should be aware of, you know, check out how long they worked on as a freelancer on Odesk. And by doing this, you can actually see what their rating is, how many people have hired them, what is their rating by previous other employers, stuff like that. Yeah, check out the reviews of other members. Check out what their common fee is. So they might list their services for $15 an hour, but if you look at their work history, they've been working for $5 an hour. So you know when you're negotiating a price that $5 or $6 an hour is totally acceptable. Most likely she or he will get accept that job offer. You can look at some of their past websites that they worked on, which is something that you can do. It's usually found in their cover letter too. So that goes for week 1, which is, you know, really great. And with that, you can really, at that point, start to, you know, as soon as you find your person, you can start actually training them afterwards. So let's see if we can go on to, let's see if I can get back to that page. I'm jumping into course sessions right now. And I'm going to see if I can grab on week 2. Okay, let's go ahead and share that screen again. There we go. So this is week 2. Train and set the intention. This is really good. I actually have a high tempo meditation that you guys can listen to. It'll set your mood for today, because we're going to not only set the intention, but we're going to start training. So this part is called Train the Trainer. It's training you on how to set the intention and how to use a project management tool like Asana. And Asana is great. We're actually going to jump on it after this little PDF. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I do with my some of my new, actually I think I do have one going through orientation right now that I can kind of let you behind the scenes and see, you know, show you how that looks. A project management tool, Asana, is amazing. It's free. You just have to have a Google or a Gmail account to actually access this. So something that you can do. I actually have a clickable link here where you can show you more about Asana, and they actually have this really cool guide and really easy tutorials on how to use it. It's not that complicated. It doesn't really need tutorials, but it's always nice to get familiar with a new product when you're using it, especially a new tool like Asana. The Asana setup and attention, I use an area called the Training Center. The Training Center on my Asana, I think I call it staff development. I'm big on staff development because it sets the intention out there that A, I have a staff, which is awesome. I never thought running my own business that I would have the number of staff members I had. I thought I'd be lucky to have one, and I'm very pleased to tell you that I have more than one, and they're awesome, and they're very highly effective, and they're great. Oops. Let's go back to that. Yeah, you know, one of the great, oh, I lost my space, sorry. That's what happens when you get too excited. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so it's a great place where you can check out or set the intention on people or your staff on training them. So we're gonna hop into that really soon. I'm gonna show you my staff development and what people go through for my orientation with my particular company. But you can set up your own. I'm just sharing and showing you how I do it. You can use it and frame it the way you'd like because, you know, it's your company. My training center is always updated, yes, for sure. And from time to time, even team leaders have access of this as well, so they can change and tweak any of the trainings that we need to do. And so this is the setup for the intention training, and it just shows you a little bit. We're going to dive into this. I'll show you a little bit more on how that looks. You know, setting up orientation is very important. I think that every employee should have a form of orientation so they have a clear, concise feeling of what the expectation is in working with you. You want to set up your virtual assistant with success instead of a disappointing email on why didn't get it done or why didn't they assume that this was happening. I was a virtual assistant for a very well-known person at one time. I thought that would be a really great bridge job when I was starting out my company. And she had this crazy assumption, sorry, siren. Okay, she had this crazy assumption of me just knowing exactly how she did everything. So it was really a big, huge setup for failure. And she would just rant and just yell at me all the time. And it was so crazy because she was a yogi. But anyway, that's what happened. And I just knew, and it was a great experience because coming away from that, I knew exactly what not to do with a virtual assistant and how to treat them. So it really was a valuable lesson for me. I show you a couple of things. I even show, one video that I have that I share with my virtual team, just something like this, how we do things at my thing. And let's just jump into how that looks now. Let me just grab, so if I can go back and screen share that particular Asana. Come on. Okay, let's go back to screen share. Here we go. Okay, so this is my Asana thing, and we're actually in the staff development training area. The staff development training area, I have two sets of groups or teams. One is my tech team and the other is my social media team. Right now I have a newbie in my tech team, so he's actually going through the process of a 7-step orientation. To give you a better idea of how that looks like for me, I basically tell them, welcome, they need to sign in before they even do anything because, I really believe that money is an exchange of energy. So if it is an exchange of energy, they need to get paid when they're going through orientation or anytime they read an email, anything that has to do with my business, they have to sign in to Odesk to get the hours collected that they deserve and that, quite honestly, I'm employing them to do. So if they're doing this, I always remind them like, hey, just don't forget, you need to sign on, make sure that you get paid. And we go through steps, individual steps on what they need to do. This one is actually on Asana training. So here, I actually have a video on how they can maneuver around Asana and how easy it is to just, as soon as they're done with a project, they're going to mark it off. Simple stuff like that. I also talk to them about their queue, all of their assignments. How does that work? I have a part 1 and part 2. And if they have any questions, they can actually use the comment field right here and type it up. Sometimes what I'll do is I will add another a team follower, a mentor, or a supervisor right here. So if I can't get to their questions, somebody else is. And quite frankly, the less I do, the better I am with my company. So I do use a team member here all the time to respond to any questions that are happening. Then, as soon as they're done with it, I don't assign this in a row. I actually assign 2 at a time. And once they're done, I'll go ahead and schedule the next one or the next 2. So here's 2. Follow up on Asana training. The reason why there's follow up and there's more than one is because some frequently asked questions or problems happen. So the cool thing is I can actually develop this and let it go, and I can duplicate these. I can actually make, make a copy. There we go. And I can make a copy and keep this going for even somebody that's new. So we go over those basics. I even use one from Asana, just to make sure that they're completely well versed in using Asana. Staff expectations. I really, because a lot of my virtual team people are overseas, as am I. I have a clear thing, like you can't not respond to me if you're on the clock and you've said that you're working from Monday through Friday. Well, then I expect your response turnaround to be no more than 12 hours. If it is, then we don't have a working relationship. It's simple. So, I lay out all of those, communication guidelines on what my project needs from them. And I have them understand completely. including what to do in days off and stuff like that. Now, things happen, and they happen. So you might have to change these modules as things occur for your business. Wish list orientation. This is a wish list. This is for my tech team. I have that. I may have something different for social media person, but this is for the tech team, and everybody in my tech team has to know what wish list is all about. Let's see. Step 5. Weekly check-in. This is our scheduling policy that we have. And I have a really cool video that we do with that. So this actually shows them in a really cool way. And I actually applied this, I think, in your week 2. It's a really cool video. It just shows people, like, don't stress. Sorry, more sirens. Ooh, that one sounds more British, don't you think? Hold on, sorry. Yeah, definitely not American sounding on that one. All right, I feel like New Zealand is both equal parts American and British in, like, style and customs. But that's another conversation. Hold on. All right, okay, so that kind of gives that overview. Check-in, this is something I just developed last week. This is check-in on your Asana, your tasks. So basically what I've been telling people, and I think this is a really great thing for you to do too, is what I do is I would, if I was a team member, I would just click on my face, click on my face, and you'll see everything that's outstanding, and then I'll prioritize it, have it go up here, and attend to it immediately. Because one thing that gets me stopped, and this is just my task, if you look at other people's tasks, they're huge. You want to be sure that you're on top of things. So that is essentially what that was all about, is just to show people, or show a team member, like, how to maneuver through that, how to check out their task, how to prioritize it, how to attend to older or out-of-date tasks, and have some communication about it too. Because one thing I can't stand, or I should say can't stand, one thing that frustrates me is that I have to be a project manager a lot of the time, and I've actually hired a project manager so I don't have to do it anymore. But I was like, half the day I was checking to see if people got stuff done. So I just made a video and said, you know what, check yourself to see what you have outstanding, deal with it, communicate with it, tell your other team members that you need help if you can't get it done. And these are part of the expectations, and now it's part of the orientation rotation, which is awesome. So that's pretty much how to begin each week, which is pretty cool. So let's go back and check out the other document that we were looking at real quick. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back here. Okay, so the reading comprehension tests, because they are outside, usually that you're hiring outside the US, you want to make sure that there is no gap in communication. Do they understand, or do they have really good reading comprehension? Like, a lot of it, through orientation, we will find that either they understand or they don't. And if they don't, then you can, what I do is I regretfully tell them that they're not the right fit for the project. And I usually, they're being paid for the time that they spent, depending on their, oh gosh, I would say enthusiasm, and they're willing to learn. They may even get a little bonus check just for starting the project. But hiring and firing is part of what you do. And sometimes, unfortunately, for English as a second language, that will come up. It's about being graceful and taking that time and connecting with that person and saying, hey, it's not your fault. You just need you need to work on your English a little bit more, and then hit me back when you feel a little more confident about it, and we'll start up again. You never know. So questions to ask to make sure that they did do that. Did they complete orientation successfully? Do you have to explain a couple of times and ask a freelancer if they're still, you know, are they still having trouble completing the task? This is a huge indicator. For sure. That may mean that, you know, English as a second language, it's just not, you know, they're not there just yet. It has nothing to do with their intelligence level. It's just about understanding the language, and sometimes that takes time. Big deal. Are you asking them to meet? Oh, this is a big another indicator too. If they're asking for a lot of Skype interviews, that also may indicate that they're not understanding your, you know, English. You know, you may not be understanding your writing. So, hello, do I need a grammar help? Maybe I need to rethink this. I'm kidding. Let's see. Are they willing to communicate all together, or are they unresponsive? That's a huge key indicator. If they're unresponsive, then something's going on. For sure. And I have a little affirmation for you to think of. You know, this is kind of a common email I'll send to somebody that's having trouble with the project. And that is it. We're at finishing at week 2, which is great. So with all of that said, we are going to have our next Google Hangout for AMP session. And people that just want to check it out on December 19th. Same time, it's on Thursday. I want to say, I think it's 1 p.m. Los Angeles time, but I will go ahead and give you guys that information. If I'm thinking New Zealand time, so for me, you know, starting this broadcast today was 10 a.m. a day ahead. See, in the States it's Thursday. Over here it's Friday. So I will definitely get back to you and tell you what time and dates are with that. And we'll continue the conversation on finding, training, and growing your virtual team. This is such a great space and place to just interact with everybody. So thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't seen the broadcast, and it was very short notice, I will definitely give you guys the replay information shortly, as YouTube will be loading this video up, and I'll be able to share that with the other AMP session or the AMP members and people that are just curious about the virtual team. Thanks so much, and thanks for checking in. Bye for now.